Good afternoon, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by the National Partnership for Student Success and Communities in Schools, focused on wraparound and integrated student support coordinators. I am Dr. Shauna Finley with Communities in Schools and a technical assistance leader with the National Partnership for Student Success. And I am excited to hear from today's amazing panel about the important role of wraparound and integrated student supports coordinators and supporting student success. This webinar today is the third in a series focused on the 5 NPSS focus categories: tutoring, mentoring, post-secondary transition coaching, wraparound integrated student supports coaching, coordination, and student success coaching. The National Partnership for Student Success, or NPSS, is a 3-year effort led by the Biden-Harris administration, including the U.S. Department of Education and AmeriCorps, along with the Everyone Graduates Center at Johns Hopkins University, and a coalition of about 100 organizations committed to providing the academic, mental health, and other supports that our young people today need to succeed given the unprecedented challenges that students, schools, educators, and communities have felt as a result of the pandemic. The NPSS brings together school districts, students, parents, federal, state, and local government agencies, AmeriCorps programs, state service commissions, nonprofits, and others around the common goal of getting more trained people to support students in high impact and evidence-based roles, both in and out of school, so they can not only recover from the impacts of the pandemic, but succeed and thrive. The NPSS was launched at the White House on July 5th alongside a call to action for an additional 250,000 Americans to serve in high-impact student supports roles over the next 3 years. This coalition is beginning to support school districts, local and state government agencies, student support providers, and community-based organizations to increase the number of students receiving evidence-based people power student supports based on locally determined needs. So today is about integrated student supports, also called sometimes wraparound supports. So exactly what are these supports that we're talking about? So I'm going to give you a little bit of more information about what they are. Integrated student supports are a school-based approach to promoting students' academic success by developing or securing and coordinating supports that target academic and non-academic barriers to achievement. These resources range from traditional tutoring and mentoring to provision of a broader set of supports, such as linking students to physical and mental health care and connecting their families to parent education, family counseling, food banks, or employment assistance. While ISS, also known as Integrated Student Support Programs, take many forms, integration is key to the model. Both integration of supports to meet individual students' needs and integration of integrated student supports programs into the life of a school. So why should we focus on wraparound and integrated student supports? Well, number one, there is emerging evidence, especially from lots of experimental studies, specifically quasi-experimental, that integrated student supports can contribute to student academic progress as measured by decreases in grade retention and dropout and increases in attendance, math achievement, reading and English language arts achievement, and overall grade point average. Number two, Integrated student supports as a student-centered approach is firmly grounded in the research on child and youth development. And lastly, integrated student supports are also aligned with empirical research on the varied factors that promote student success. So I'm not the person you want to hear from, but I have a couple of panelists here today who are doing this work at the local level. So today I'd like to introduce you to our panelists. We have Jennifer Railsback, who is an assistant principal with 21 years in education. She is the assistant principal at Northwest High School in Justin, Texas, and she does a lot of this coordination and integration of supports in partnership with Arlo Ariano, who is a CIS, also known as Communities in Schools Coordinator at her school, and this is their second year working together in collaboration. We also have on today's panel, Shakaka Perry. She is the Reengagement Coordinator at Garinger High School at Communities in Schools of Charlotte, Mecklenburg. They are located in the North Carolina area. So I'm not the expert to talk about this, they are, so I'm going to hand over the mic to Jennifer Railsback to tell you more about their story and what they do to deliver services and coordinate those services for students, and then Shakaka will do the same. Thank you all so much and enjoy the rest of the session.
Thank you, Dr. Finley, for the warm welcome. I'm excited to be here and share all the amazing things that we do at Northwest High School specifically and within Northwest ISD. I want to tell you a little bit about the school district first. It is the largest fastest growing school district in the state of Texas. We have 30,000 students in the school district, and we're growing approximately 1,000 students a year. So that's really big. Lots of migrant kids that join our area. I have the flagship on the slide here because Northwest High School, where I'm at, is the first high school campus in our district. And the construction hat is because it is undergoing a major remodel. So there are lots of pieces going on in this building right now. So lots of fun things that are happening as well. Here on our campus, we have 2,300 students. That was as of today. A little bit more about it. We have one principal, one associate principal who is over testing and coordinating those types of things. There are 5 assistant principals, so 4 others along with myself, and 6 counselors that are academic counselors. We all call ourselves Team Texan because we are the Texans here, go figure, in the state of Texas, right? And let me talk to you a little bit about what we do. So we developed a wraparound team for different needs that we had on our campus. It wasn't just the part of communities and schools, but we found that we needed this team for our diverse communities. We have a very affluent half of our school district, and we have a very low socioeconomic part as well. And so this wraparound team encompasses all of them. It's made up of an academic counselor. We have a truancy counselor that is all she does, is deal with truancy and attendance and students, dropout prevention, those types of things. We have an intervention counselor that she deals with social emotional. Our communities and schools, which is Arlo, he helps us on so many different levels and he's part of our team. We have a student services facilitator. She is actually over all of our 504s and 504 coordinator. We have a couple of different members of our special education department that come in. There is a department chair, but we also use their case manager as well if they know the students better. And then the assistant principal, and here on our campus, we're divided by alpha. So in each one of our alphas, we have about 700 kids or so. We meet every 3rd Friday of the month as a team, and we go over every student in our alpha that we potentially need to discuss. Could be for anything. They might have just moved here and be a brand new student. They could be a student that is coming back from an alternative education program. They could be a kid who we've had the entire time. We do track them to see if they've started with us, if they're an original and they started elementary through high school and they've been in Northwest, or if they've come somewhere else. And we take that information as a team and we divide it out. We specifically, some of them, For example, if truancy is the issue with the student, then the truancy counselor takes that student and they begin those services by reaching out to them in home visits and tracking their attendance. If it's SEL that they need, she will take that group of kiddos and she meets with them once a week, calls parents, provides them additional resources that they potentially could need to be successful here on campus. We also, this is an opportunity for us to put them with a mentor and have that mentor guide them for some of the things that they're missing. We talk about all the specific supports that we can give through each one of our team members and how we can help them. We also host monthly lunch activities. So communities and schools, along with our intervention counselor, they do neat little things throughout the weeks where they set up a table and they have some different like lunch and learns for kids that can join them at their table so that they're not eating alone and they have someone else to depend on and someone else to work with. Serving students specifically through communities and schools, Arlo does have an AmeriCorps assistant that works with him right now. She's interning for the year. He has 5 different mentors that come on a regular basis that mentor our kiddos. And then also, like I just said, with the intervention counselor, he has different groups that they've created based on the needs of our campus and our campus improvement plan. He has a group about diversity where they get together and they've created signs. A good example of this is Heritage Month, Hispanic Heritage Month last month. They got together and they did all kinds of things as a group and talked about what diversity looks like on our campus. He has domestic violence, where we talk about dating violence and what that looks like and what it looks like at home and how you handle that. Coping skills. What do you do whenever you're stressed out? He provides different tips for that. And we talk about that in our wraparound services as well, is how can we help those kids that we have seen, even as an administrator or the counselor has seen, or we've even seen in the hallway that are really struggling with coping or even the social emotional skills. We notice they're sitting alone at lunch. We go over to them. How can we help them get them involved in something else here on campus? Those are pretty specific groups that CIS does. Up in his area of expertise. So as a campus, these are some things that we have done prior to CIS. They are things that we do all the time for our entire population of all kids. We have what we call Invest, and the N is big because we're Northwest Texans. And Invest is 30 minutes a day that is embedded into our school day that allows students to have a tutorial period. On Mondays and Fridays, we use Invest for advisory, and then on Fridays for pep rallies right now at this time, got to celebrate that. But for advisory lessons that are state mandated. And then Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are days that we use for tutorials. So students have 30 free minutes a day that they can go to any classroom in the building that they need help in. We started this because our district is 243 square miles. So we have about 37 buses here. And so we figured that we had this problem of students could not come before school or after school for tutorials. And so what were we going to do to try to help those kids and meet those needs of kids that ride a bus and can't make it here? And so we developed Invest, and it's every day. They are in a classroom. They have the power to choose. If they need English help, history, Spanish, whatever it is, that is where they go. And so that's been very beneficial. We have structured tutorials. So House Bill 4545 in the state of Texas says that any student who has failed a STAR test, that they have to have 30 hours of tutorials prior to passing the test. And so we have incorporated that as well into our Invest time. We use a program called Edgenuity that has them work on their assignments and practice tutorials for STAR testing. So those structured tutorials with the teacher are also embedded in our Invest days as well. We have a CIS mental health coordinator that comes to our campus, and she is at our disposal anytime we need her. We can call for that extra support if a student needs that. She presents to our student body and helps them with things that they need as well. And the mentors and tutors, I talked a little bit about that earlier. Arlo has 5 that come on a regular basis. We use the University of North Texas, those students that are going through education training classes. We use them to come in and tutor as well. We've also used the National Honor Society. This has been great. For those kids that are struggling in a specific subject, we have National Honor Society students who will meet in a specific area during our invest time, and they will help do that one-on-one tutoring with our kiddos who are struggling in math or any class whatsoever, whatever they feel confident in helping another kid with. So that's been a good peer-to-peer wraparound service that we have here on campus. Community services. I'm not sure if any of you are Aggies or if you know what that is, but Texas A&M University started a program that they call the Big Event. And our campus was the first high school in the state of Texas to ever do this. It is called the Big Event, and we have one day of giving back to our community, which in turn gives back to us. It has been outstanding. We do one day of community service for all cities that surround our school. There are 7, which is very odd. Most of the time, a high school's in one town, and there's not so many communities, but we have 7 different towns that come to our high school. So that's been great. It's also helped build that relationship for those wraparound services and for providing students other things they need. Because we do the Big Event, we have a great relationship with the community storehouse. They provide clothing for our students in need. They provide snack packs every Friday for our kids in need. They've given scholarships. And so there's other ways that by us giving back to the community, they give to us as well. The Northwest Education Foundation is a foundation for our school district. This year, they have created a partnership with communities and schools where they have a store at our admin building where there are every type of school supplies that you can imagine. Students are able to tell Mr. A or anyone in the office what they need, and we go over and shop and buy it and bring it, or not buy it, but pick it up and bring it back, as well as clothing and all of those things. So that's been a really great partnership as well. A couple of other things about our campus that we do reentry circles with that wraparound group as well for those kids that have come back from DAEP. We like for them to have, or JJAEP, for them to have a fresh start and to know that they have a support team here on campus for them as they integrate back into normal high school life. A few facts about our school. In 2022, communities and schools had 14 seniors graduate. So we're very proud of that. Out of his program, 14 of them graduated. He carries about 80 plus students on his caseload every year. And then, like I said before, we have numerous community partners that we're very proud of and the support that they give to our students and staff and community and anything they need. Thank you. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Perry for her turn.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Dr. Finley, for having me here today. Any opportunity I get a chance to, to being with pride about CIS Charlotte-Mecklenburg and the work that we're doing in our community, I gladly take the opportunity to do so. So once again, my name is Shakaka Perry, and I am with CIS Charlotte-Mecklenburg, which is located in Charlotte, North Carolina. I am a Reengagement site coordinator, and I have been with CIS Charlotte-Mecklenburg for exactly 6 years and 6 months. And I only know that because I looked it up today. Now, today we'll just be talking a little bit about the integrated student supports that we have at the school where I work, and that is Garinger High School. And Garinger High School is located on the eastern side of Charlotte. It is also the high school where my boss, who is in the chat, graduated from. So we have a lot of Wildcat pride on this call today. And anybody who knows me know that I love Garinger. One of the main reasons I worked at Garinger is because as a teacher, as a special education teacher, I worked in a middle school that was a feeder school for Garinger, and it was an opportunity for me to serve my middle school students as they graduated high school. So yes, go Wildcats, and we're excited to be here today. just talking about the integrated student supports that we offer at CIS Charlotte Mecklenburg, specifically at Garinger High School, just showing our model to those who might not have had a chance to see our model with CIS. As you can see, the third step in our model is integrated student supports. This is the meat and potatoes of the work that we do within CIS Charlotte. So once we are inside of a school and we have identified site coordinators that's going to work in the school, and we have the buy-in for staff at the school, one of the main things that we try to plan is how are we going to best serve our students in that school, and how are we going to use all the resources we have available to us within the school and also within our surrounding community in order to make sure that we're giving the students what they need in order to be successful. On the high school level, one of my greatest goals is just trying to support our students as they make their ways out to be adults in the real world. As my position of Reengagement coordinator, I also support students who choose not to come back to their home school, but they choose to go to either a charter school or to continue their education at our local community college, which is Central Piedmont Community College. And I also work with students who decide, like, right now school is not for me, whether it's for personal reasons, because they just, they don't feel like school is a place for them to be, or whether they're supporting their family at this time and they're looking to find employment support instead of going back to school right now at this moment. We're also supporting them to make sure that they have successful employment that's not just a job, but something that can lead to a career for them. And so in order to provide them with those supports they need, collaboration and partnership is essential to the work that I do on an everyday basis. So just a few pictures of my beautiful team here at CIS Charlotte, my Reengagement team. Right now in Charlotte, we are serving in 3 high schools. We started as a pilot with National during the last school term, and we piloted into 3 schools. So I'm at Garinger High School. My coworker, Quenisha, the tall one with the long hair, she is at West Mecklenburg High School. And then we have Jerry Garcia, who is at Julius Chambers High School. And we serve 3 high schools currently with the Reengagement teamwork that we're doing. It started, like I said, as a pilot with National, and we're just so grateful and thankful that we were able to continue a second year in Charlotte, because we think this work is very impactful on our students, and we see the need for it in our communities. The lady in the middle is my boss, so I forgot. Okay. Just going over a little bit of how we use ISS work with Reengagement work that I do in my high school. Just starting out with myself as a Reengagement coordinator. So I collaborate a lot with my student support team. They are my lifeline in my building. They help me to identify potential students that could be on my caseload. And with the information they give me, I'm providing case management to address any issues and barriers that my students might be able to any of the barriers that any of my students might come across while they're on their Reengagement pathway. Like I stated before, we have 3 pathways for Reengagement. So the first is getting students back into their home schools. So identifying what barriers they have into coming back to their home schools. And if they want to come back to home schools, helping them to do that. And that involves doing work with the student support team, as well as administration. So if you see on the left-hand side, we have, at our school, we are gracious to have a general social worker. We have a McKinney-Vento social worker. And just being able to have 1 social worker is a blessing, but to have 2 social workers is just fantastic and phenomenal. And I know it's something that a lot of schools aren't privy to having. So I'm so grateful and thankful to be able to have them, because they both serve distinct needs in our schools, and they're very important with the students that we're working with. We have 5 academic counselors, and like Jennifer stated earlier, they are broken down by alpha. And so lately, I think we arranged between 1,700 and 1,800 students in our school. So they're broken down into their case manager based on alpha. And we also have a graduation success coach. So this person is specifically on campus to work with those students who are having challenges to being on track and graduating on time. They primarily identify seniors and work with those seniors and make sure they're giving them the support they need, whether it's academically or personally, to overcome any obstacles they're being faced with in order to be able to graduate on track with their right class. We also have a great partnership with AmeriCorps, in that we have a college advisor who comes back to our school every 2 years from Chapel Hill. So they are a student who graduates from Chapel Hill, and they enter in a partnership with AmeriCorps in order to serve as a college advisor at a Title I school in the area in order to help our students to go into the pathway of going to college. So they help them with scholarships. They help them with identifying colleges that they might be interested in attending. They help them with doing FAFSA. In the state of North Carolina, we have RDS, which is our residency program. I don't know if it's nationwide, but you have to complete this to say whether or not you'll be able to be an in-state tuition student or an out-of-state tuition student. So we have somebody on campus who's able to supply that need to our students. And that's a wonderful wraparound service. And this year, I'm just so excited because we actually have a student who I know who graduated from Garinger High School to come back to Garinger High School and serve in that capacity. And you're talking about full service and the impact of a wraparound service. What better thing to have than someone who graduated from the school, who had somebody in that same capacity pour into them to come back and to be able to pour into our students in that same way. They already know the challenges of our students because they were a student at our school. They know that all of the great things that come around with going to a four-year college or even college in general. So to be able to have those conversations with our students and to be able to tell them, like, I was here just like you were here. I had the opportunity and now I'm here helping you is one of the most fantastic wraparound services I think that we can even have for our students. We also have an incredible school psychologist who works a lot with our counselors and also works with our special education team. And we have a full-time nurse on campus, which I know is something that a lot of campuses don't have. And it is just a great thing to be able to have that support, because not only do we have students who have different needs, whether they're diabetic or they're asthmatic, but we also have students who are on campus who are parenting students. So we have pregnant students on campus, and to be able to have someone on staff who can attend to their needs on a day-to-day basis is just a great thing to have. As far as administration, we have a principal, we have 4 assistant principals and 3 deans of students. So we have a lot of people on our staff who are here to help our students and guide them with any supports they might need. And when I say hands-on, let me tell you, there is nobody sitting in their office. There's nobody with the door closed. There's nobody who's not available. It is very great to be able to have people who are willing to walk around on campus and meet our students and engage not only with students, but teachers and staff in order to be able to be present. Because I think it is a cool thing when people are able to see their principal, know their principal, and it's not like a Wizard of Oz thing when somebody's just sitting back in the room and we only see you when we're in trouble or something big is happening. So to be able to have that many administrators on staff, which means that with each of our counselors, there is an assistant principal who is paired with them. So when we are having meetings as far as NPSS meetings, or you're having an issue with a student, not only are you able to go talk to that student's counselor, but you're also able to engage that student's admin about what's going on with them. And so that makes for a wealthy team. There are many times when I have something going on with a student and I'm having one general meeting with the teacher and then the counselor, but then also that admin is on staff. And it's when you have, moving from 1 to 2, but 4 or 5 people who are surrounding you with a circle of support and make sure you have what you need in order to be successful. That's an impactful thing in our community. And it goes on to not only help that student, but we're helping their family, and it's a ripple effect within our community. And one of the greatest things that makes my job easier is just some of the partnerships we have within our community. Within CIS Charlotte, we are in a very rich area for organizations and partnerships and collaborations with different nonprofit and profit organizations. I just mentioned a few on this slide, but we have CPCC, which is our central Piedmont Community College, which we have in the area. Like I stated, not only connecting students on my caseload who might be interested in getting their adult diploma if they choose not to come back to their home school, but also we are currently in collaboration with them with helping to support some of our students who might be CIS alum who graduate and they want to go to CPCC, and making that a stronger bridge between our organization and that school. We actually have an event that we're having tomorrow evening, when we're having a panel of students who are going to tell us a little bit about how they feel success is for them personally, how they define success, what they think they need to be successful, and how can community partners such as CIS and even CPCC help them to become successful as they graduate from high school and become an adult in the world. When it comes to organizations such as the Urban League, or even we have another organization, Goodwill organization, when we have those students who want to get certifications, and maybe, you know, they don't want to go to college and they want to go into career force, being able to connect them with organizations where they can get certified, whether it's in IT or whether they want to do landscaping or whether they want to do something in the phone services or any opportunities they have within the urban leagues of the Carolinas or even Goodwill to gain skill sets that will be equitable inside of the community where they can further prosper themselves. And it's not just, okay, I want to get a job and I'm working at McDonald's, or I want to get a job and I'm working at Food Lion. Those are great opportunities. But if you know that you're interested in something more hands-on and you want to be able to find something that's not just going to be a job for you, but a career, and a career that's going to help you to reach a higher socioeconomic level that maybe your family wasn't able to reach. And we're always talking about, you know, going in to improve our students, and we're talking about generational wealth. Well, the way to get to that generational wealth is to be able to connect these students with these programs and certifications so they can have the skill set that a lot of employers in our communities are looking for, and they'll be able to still be successful if college is not the route they're trying to choose. Other essential wraparound care services we have is crisis assistance. So you might have families who might struggle with paying their light bill or paying their water bill, or they're having housing issues, and just being able to connect them with organizations that can immediately fulfill that need for them. Because we know if students have no food to eat, if they have no lights, how are they going to come to school and learn? We have a lot of students that maybe they're missing school because they're helping their parents with paying some of these bills that they have to pay in order to make sure they maintain a roof over their head and food on the table. So to be able to connect them to organizations within our community that can help provide money for these families, that's another way that we can have an ability to wrap around not only the student, but wrap around that care around the families, which makes it easier for students to be able to come to school and focus on learning, or in my instance, you know, go to their employment and worry about just being employed and not have to worry about not being able to plug into their family because they're choosing to plug into themselves. Because I know a lot of times students feel like, well, I have to fulfill this need for my family because family comes first and they're second, but making an opportunity so not only they can focus on their family's well-being, but their own personal well-being, their own personal growth as well. And local charter schools in the area. We have 2 charter schools in our area who provide support to students who are between the ages of 16 and 21 who have previously dropped out of school and they want to continue their academic learning, but not necessarily in the CMS and probably not necessarily in CPCC. And we have built a relationship with them where we can, you know, tell our students about their schooling, refer them there, and support them while they're attending. So that's another avenue for our students who do not want to go back to their home school, but they are intent on getting their high school diploma. And to be able to have that kind of benefit within our community is a great resource. And it's something that we have fallen on for time to time. Before we even became re-engagement coordinators at my school, there was a resource that working along with the counselors and the social workers that we have gone to visits with the schools and parents and shown them that opportunity for the students. So dropping out is the last resort. Like, even if you don't want to come back to Garinger and maybe you think CPC might be too hard, maybe this might be a support for you and a way for you to continue your education. And just working with all of these pretty circles, we're doing it for the one in the middle, which is the student. We all come together for the good of the student. And it is just a rich environment to be in. And I have been in my school for the entire time for 6 years. And just knowing the different things that we do in order to make ourselves better so that we are pulling from our community and pulling from inside the school to make sure that we are using every single resource we have available to provide, whether it is academic support or whether it's personal support to our students. One of the greatest partnerships that I left off the list is our Garinger Education Foundation. And it's a foundation that has been created by Garinger graduates. And not only do they come to our school and beautify our school with plants and make sure the weeds aren't overgrowing, but they also have a scholarship for our students. And it's available to any student who goes to our school and wants to go to Central Piedmont, and they can basically go for free. And that is something that's not only a financial burden from our families, but then it's an opportunity for students to know, like, okay, maybe I do want to go to a 4-year college, but I'm not able to quite get there. Or I want to go, but we can't afford it this time. You have the grades, you fill out the form, and you basically submit it and you are guaranteed to have that support from the Garinger Education Foundation. And they also take care of our staff by coming in and do luncheons for us and just letting us know how important we are to them, because they want to make sure the legacy of their high school is one that they can look back with pride, and they continue to sow into our students who are Garinger. And that is one of the most fantastic partnerships that we have. And it's indeed a great wraparound service to be able to pull from those people who've come before us and have them support our students who are going out in the future. And in CIS Charlotte, we have something called differentiated services. So years before, all site coordinators in school were traditional. So we served every student that came in the building. Like, you have attendance issues, come to me. You have intensive needs, come to me. We were like everything. Like, we're always everything, but we were everything. So a couple of years ago, we decided to differentiate our services. So we basically made a specialized job titles for service coordinators in different schools. So we have an intense case manager, and that is Monica, who has on the light blue shirt. And intense case managers have a caseload of approximately 20 students, and they are social workers who work intensely with our students and our families. So these are like, not only do they have, maybe they have mental health issues, attendance issues, behavior issues, and then the family might have extensive needs as well that need to be covered. Those are the students that we refer to Monica. And then we have two youth development coordinators, which was my previous job before I moved to Reengagement coordinator. And that is serviced by Holly with the strawberry blonde hair. And then we have Maria in the black shirt. And our YDC coordinators have a caseload of about 75 students. And they cater to like that middle of the road student. They might be the CD student. They have some attendance issues, but not like over 20 or 30 attendance issues, maybe 1 or 2 behavioral issues, but not great behavior issues. And they do a lot of academic support, attendance support, and they do a lot of social emotional learning as well. And they provide that post-secondary support as well, as far as planning. So like, let's figure out what it is that you enjoy, and let's see how we can do these kind of enrichment activities to put you on a pathway that you want to be on after you graduate from high school. Now, I am the Reengagement coordinator. And like I said earlier, I have students who have already dropped out of school, students who are supposed to report to school and we have not seen them yet. They have the previous school year, they had lots of absences, so they will be a chronically absent student. They might be overage and undercredited. So they might be a 17-year-old student who is a freshman who only has like 3 credits. And we know with that might come frustration, and they might just willing to drop out, because in the state of North Carolina, at the age of 16, you are able to drop out of school. And so if you are 16 and you have 2 credits and you don't see yourself progressing like you want to, or you feel like you're so far behind that there's no way imaginable you can catch up, you might just want to chuck it all and just go work. We are here to support you on whatever pathway you choose. So whether you are students like, yes, Ms. Perry, I definitely want to come back to Garinger and I want your support with that, I'm here to support you on that pathway. If you're a student that says, I want to get my diploma right now, but I was not ready to go back to Garinger, I don't want to see my old peers, I didn't like the old principal, I want to go somewhere else, but I still want to get my learning, then we will introduce you to either CPCC or one of our local charter schools in the area that can support you. Or if you say, you know, Ms. Perry, one day I'm going to get my high school diploma, but right now I really need to work, and working is my focus, then we're looking for employment for you in the community, substantial employment for you in the community, something that hopefully that can end up turning into a career for you. But we're also supporting you when you decide that you are ready to go back to school, whether that's going to be CPCC at that time or one of the local charter schools in the area. And we also have a Safe Journey case manager. Our Safe Journey case manager within community schools works with our pregnant and parenting mothers and fathers. So their caseload is just made up of students who are currently pregnant or who have given birth. And it's not just the moms, but it's also the fathers. So they provide them parenting skills. They connect them with daycare services in the community. They also do intensive group work with them once monthly. And they also help them stay on top of their academics. So they are trying to wrap them around with a layer of support, so that because they are parents, they're not just dropping out of school. Like, just because you had a baby, you don't have to drop out of school. Let us support you so we can make sure that you you can graduate from high school and then have the support you need for your child. And then my director of program operations, which is Anna, who's smiling on the far right. She does a lot of the work in the community on behalf of the Reengagement coordinators and the youth development coordinators. And she does a lot of that communication with the CPCC or Urban League or all of these smaller partnerships within the community. And they send her things across the desk. It might be great for us and different connections that we might have. And she sends them out to us so we can make those connections so we can be a better support with wraparound those services for our students in schools. So she is like one of the middle connections between us and some of the partnerships that are out in the community that we're able to bring into the academic environment and support our students and families. And just some of the statistics that we've had recently at CIS Charlotte, we've had 4,000 students that receive targeted services. We are in 53 CMS schools, which is a lot. And most of our schools, we have 2 site coordinators, but some of our schools we even have 5 because we also have trio support within communities and schools Charlotte, and we also have their re-entry person. So like when Jennifer was talking about having that person who talks to the students who might be coming back from the juvenile detention center, we also have that service, just not in my school. So that is another case manager that we have within the schools. Over 31,000 students receive broad school-wide services with our Tier 1 services. And we had 99% of our CIS students that stayed in school last year, which was great when you're on, it's still in the middle of a pandemic. 600 plus partner companies with our partnerships that we have. 96% of our students were promoted to the next grade. 64% of our students are not chronically absent, which is something that we work diligently with. It is something that we are charged with our partnership with Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. Is one of the biggest things our partnership with CMS is built on, which is helping to reduce that chronically absent rate within our schools. And 451 of our seniors graduated last year, which is phenomenal. We're always looking for a way to increase that number, but 451 is a great number to have. And I've moved somebody else's slide, but I am very proud of the work that we're doing at CIS Charlotte in order to be able to provide these IS services to our students, to provide this wraparound care that we have. And none of this could be done and none of our students could be successful if it wasn't for the partnerships and collaborations we have within our school, within the school district, and also within our community. So I thank you for the opportunity to present today. So back to you, Dr. Finley.
Thank you so much. Well, right now it is time for the Q&A. So I'm going to ask our moderators if we have any questions for our panelists this afternoon. But I will start with, while we're waiting to see if we have any questions, I actually have a couple of questions ready to go already for Jennifer as well as Shikaka. And the first question that I have for you, Jennifer, is, so we're doing all these great things. So how does your district fund the integrated student supports at your specific location?
Absolutely. Something I failed to mention is I'm jealous of Shikaka and all of the people for communities and schools that she has. CIS is only at our high school. We have 3 comprehensive high schools in our district and 1 accelerated high school. And so he is only at our campus. And there are 5 other coordinators that are at middle school or elementary in the district. So 6 total for our entire school district. So it's a way smaller scale. So I'm jealous about that, of all the extra. I was writing down some things like, oh, we need that. We need that. So how is it funded? It's a partnership. Northwest ISD pays a percentage and communities and schools pays a percentage as well. And so it's funded by both the campus or the district as well as communities and schools.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Shikaka, I do have a question for you as well. Can you please let the audience know, how do you integrate, you being Mecklenburg and CIS of Mecklenburg rather, how do you all integrate student supports and community partnerships to meet the constant changing of our students' needs? I mean, you mentioned something a few minutes ago about the pandemic and 451 seniors graduating. We went from a pandemic of being at home and working online and checking in with our kids, and CIS, we kind of, communities in schools, kind of said, okay, we've been saying communities in schools, we're communities in and out of school, right? So how were you able to make that shift as students came back to school this year, as a matter of fact?
Yes, thank you for that question. We really were communities in schools and out of schools when the pandemic came. And that was really when we spent a lot of time hunkering in on our greatest collaborators in the community. We were doing loads of home visits with school staff who were able to do home visits. We were still participating in food referrals. We did tons of food referrals and crisis assistance. So those partnerships that we had with our local food bank and crisis assistance, being able to be the middle person for our families and then submit that information to them, so our families weren't out on their own still trying to get that support, because it was easier for our parents to be able to call the site coordinator who they already had a relationship with and say, hey, like, we need food, we need help with lights, we need help with power, as opposed to trying to cold call on their own and get in contact with someone. And because we have a great relationship with these people and they respect the work we do and we respect the work they do, they were more than willing to help us to be able to make sure that our families had exactly what they need and take these referrals from us and make sure that we can connect our families directly to the resources that they need. We have Andrew Ladd within Communities and Schools of Charlotte, and he's our VP of Partnerships. So his whole job is just to manage our partnerships. And in every year, besides the last 2 years, we have an annual partnership fair where different partners inside of the community come and they relate to all site coordinators the things that they have available to us and how they can help us with our students and how they can help us with our families. And we're able to connect with those partners individually. And so we have a large database of partnerships that are available for us to utilize within community schools in Charlotte. And for instance, if I come across maybe a new organization who does not have a partnership with community schools yet, I put them in contact with Mr. Andrew Ladd. They go through the process, they sign an MOU. And once they sign that MOU, then that is another partnership. Not only I can use at Garinger, but then it's also a resource for my other CIS site coordinators in other schools. So we are very grateful to have someone who that's their primary job, is to make sure they are connecting with the community, going to those meetings, letting them know about the work within CIS Charlotte, and making sure that we have a database to pull on for in order to pull for people who need resources, and also give us the opportunity to present new possible partners to them and have them go through the process of making sure that we are all on one accord, that we are trying to align the services that you have to offer our students, and they are in alignment with who we are as an organization and what we presented to the community, and make sure that it's a mutually beneficial opportunity for our students and our families here in Charlotte.
Thank you so much for that response. I'm going to ask you to, what are your thoughts about Chicago's response, Jennifer, as well, because you all were dealing with a pandemic like everyone else, and your lens was probably, if not similar, maybe a little bit different, because you're an assistant principal. So can you share with us some of your experiences and how you all did some of the work in collaboration and coordination with communities in schools, and what that impact meant for kids coming back to school this year, as well as your families?
Absolutely. We continued with the ball rolling. We didn't stop. We met with students online via Zoom. We did home visits as administrators. We went with our truancy counselor. We went with CIS. We continued to deliver food. So those kiddos that needed those meals, we took them to their home and we dropped them at their door. Our Airmark is who provides our lunches for the district. We partnered with them and they were able to, we had some select satellite locations where they made all of the meals. And as an administrative team, those that were, and the need basis, we would go pick up the meals and deliver them to their house. And so we continued with all of our services via Zoom or via home visits. If we weren't hearing from them, we went and checked in on them to make sure that they were okay and getting what they needed. So, yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your response, ladies. And I can't say thank you enough for you all making the time. I know, Jennifer, you have a pep rally. Yes, she's already given us the secret before that. And I appreciate you making the time to be with us. And the same thing goes for you as well, Chicago. I know a lot of times as we were coordinating these meetings, audience, she's right. She was never in her office. So there's a validity to that. I have evidence to support that statement. She was always running around doing something with kids. So I say thank you to both of you for making the time to be with us today. And thank you to our audience for making the time to listen to us present to you all. And if you want to get involved, what next? How do you get involved? Well, you can request technical assistance from the National Partners for Students, National Partnership for Student Success Hub. There's the link right there. You can apply to become a supporting champion of the National Partnership for Student Success. And here's the link as well. And you can also search for opportunities. And I believe those items are being dropped in the chat box as I'm speaking about them, so you can grab them as I'm speaking. Search for service opportunities. As I stated earlier, we're looking, I know the government and specifically our President Biden is still talking about those 250,000 tutors and volunteers that we need to help our schools. We need you. So if you're interested in those service opportunities, the link has been dropped as well. And please follow us on the National Partnership for Student Success on social media. We have a Twitter handle. It is at NPS_success. We have our LinkedIn site as well, which is National Partnership for Student Success. And then we also have a newsletter that you can stay engaged with us as well. And Kate, I missed you today, so I'm going to say that out loud as well. I did my best. I hope I filled in for you well today. So with that and nothing else being said or no other questions at this time, I don't think we have any. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of the week.